So on this Spikes Tactical Stern Defense AR9, I've got on it mounted a Delta Point Pro. It's technically a pistol red dot, but it works perfect on this, which is technically a pistol anyway. The freaking field of view on this thing is huge, which is really nice. It tracks really well from target to target. Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. A week ago, I did a review video of this AR9, Spikes Tactical Lower, Stern Defense Upper, and I really enjoyed it. But I also really liked the optic that was on here. This is the Leupold Delta Point Pro, and so I decided while I had this in my possession, might as well do a review of this optic because I'm actually very impressed by it. As far as a pistol optic goes, this thing's pretty sweet. So before we get started, I want to thank Kaylin again for loaning me this pistol with this optic on it. I appreciate that, man. And I also want to thank every one of you that has subscribed to the channel, liked, comment, or share these videos, and anyone that has joined Patreon or used my Amazon affiliate links. That's how we'll keep this channel running, so I really appreciate you guys. Let's check out the accuracy with this Delta Point Pro. Time to reload. So if you guys have been following the channel for any period of time, you know that I'm a fan of red dot optics and that I'm a fan of pistol red dots. I put my first red dot on this M&P 2.0, got the slide specifically milled for this Holosun, and now I feel spoiled. They make a big difference over iron sights. And now when it comes to a rifle or, like this, an AR pistol, having an optic is, it's pretty much necessary. Now you can run iron sights for sure, but having an optic makes all the difference in the world. And I've noticed that a lot of people do run pistol optics on some of these kind of builds. And so what the owner of this AR pistol, this AR9, has on his is the Leupold Delta Point Pro. Now, I didn't really have any experience with this Delta Point Pro before borrowing this gun to do the review on it, but I've found it's a very, very good optic. Now, before Holosun started getting popular, the Leupold Delta Point Pro was basically the main competitor with the Trijicon RMR. Those were the two main pistol optics out there that were, had the major share of the market. And at this point now I can see why. There are some really great things about this optic, and I want to go over them. The biggest thing that I really, really like about it is the field of view is gigantic. It's huge. This has a bigger window than the red dots that I have on my 5.56 ARs. Let's see if I can give you a view of that at all through the camera there. See if I can get close. If you look at that, it just has a huge window and a great field of view. And so you have really, really good situal awareness when using this optic. You don't really see anything else in your vision except for your target. You can remain target focused, and really you just, that dot overlays on your target really well. Now it's a 2.5 MOA dot, and you can turn the brightness up very high. It's up pretty high right now because I was just out in the very bright sun shooting it, and it didn't wash out one bit. I was easily able to engage targets with it, and I was just really, really impressed with how well this pistol optic works on a setup like this. Now, obviously, you do have to mount it on some kind of Picatinny riser so that it is at the correct height to put it on an AR type system. I think, yep, this is a Leupold riser. So obviously this is designed for this Delta Point Pro. And there are just some things about this optic that are really cool. Compared to the window on my Holosun 407K here, which is much, much smaller, the window on this Delta Point Pro is huge. Now, on the Holosun, this has not caused me any problems because as long as you train and you present the same way each time, you're not going to have a problem finding the dot in that window. But there's nothing wrong with having a bigger advantage. And with this, just finding that dot is automatic. Now, it's obviously going to be pretty automatic anyway, just because of the way you use an AR. As soon as you pull that thing up, that dot just shows up in your field of vision, no matter what. But like I said, there is nothing wrong with having an advantage, and having a bigger window really is an advantage. It just makes it so easy. The other thing about this one, and I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see it through the camera, the glass is super duper clear. Like most of these other optics, Trijicon, even the Holosun, which has pretty dang clear glass, they do have to put a coating on them, basically to help reflect the dot back at you. And that helps in other ways too, because it gives you a longer battery life, because your emitter doesn't have to put out as much energy. Now, either they don't use a coating on the Delta Point, or it's just less of a coating. I mean, obviously there's a coating. You can see color on the front of there. But the glass is super, super clear. Now, I've done a little research into this, and apparently the battery life is not nearly as long as it is with something like this, or with a Trijicon RMR. But those are trade-offs, you know. For a little bit less battery life, you get an extremely clear window, very clear glass. It's almost like there's nothing there that you're looking through, just a dot on your target, which is really, really nice. Leupold Delta Point Pro. Yeah, lights out. So a couple other things about this Leupold Delta Point Pro. It does feel very solid. If you look closely at it there, you can see that it has an extra, just like a protective layer of aluminum over the window there. I think there were concerns initially with this optic being fragile if you dropped it, but it looks like they built just a nice solid hood over that to make sure that that wasn't so much of an issue. It does also come with a cover that you can put on this when you're not using it. One of the things that does save you on that battery life, though, is it does have the shake awake, kind of like the Holosuns do, or the SIG optics, where I believe after 15 minutes of it not moving, it turns off to conserve your battery life. But the moment you pick it up and move it, it is on immediately, so that it is always ready for you to go anytime that you need it. You don't have to worry about turning it off or on, anything like that, which is very nice. Now, I'm going to talk about the controls on it. One thing that I think is a little bit not as convenient as, say, like the Holosun or the SIG optics, you don't have like an up and down button to adjust the brightness. There's just one button in here, and that just cycles up through them. Once you get to the highest brightness level, you hit it again, it goes back to the lowest, and you can cycle through them again. Now, if you just find a brightness that you like, you can just leave it at that, and you're good. But, you know, if you're going to use it as like a home defense thing, you need to turn it down to use it at night. Say you have a weapon-mounted light or something, or you're going to be, you know, and it's going to blow out the whole window with your dot if it's turned up too high for indoors. So you got to turn it down for that. Then say you go out to the range and shoot it in the sun, you got to turn it up so it doesn't wash out, and you can actually pick up your reticle. It could be probably a little bit frustrating. I've left it on the exact same setting that the owner of this just had it on, because I was just using it at the range and it worked perfectly fine for that. But some other cool things about it, unlike the RMR, there's just a little plate in there to remove the battery. So when that battery does eventually die, you can remove it and replace it with a new battery without having to remove the optic and then re-zero it once you replace the battery and remount it like you do with an RMR. So that's another advantage in my opinion. Now it is a big optic. So I was looking at it in relation to like my M&P here and the optic on this. If you look at the two of those, there is a giant difference in size there. And I do feel like something like this would be very wide on a pistol like this, even though that's what it's built for. But for something like this, it's absolutely perfect because who cares? I mean, most people run bigger optics than this on AR platforms. So for something like this, it is absolutely perfectly. And just looking through it again, God, I just love how clear that glass is and how big that window is. It really is like looking through nothing at your reticle, just, you know, laid onto the target, which is really, really cool. I didn't plan on doing a review of this optic when I was loaned this this gun here, but I was just so impressed with it using it at the range that I felt like I had to. I think I had mentioned it before, but it's a 2.5 MOA dot, and it's very easy to adjust your zero there. You've got your windage and your elevation, and you know, it's just like your standard pistol dot. Is just a really good one. And so I felt like it was worth doing a video on. If you're in the market for a pistol red dot, or you're thinking about putting a pistol red dot on an AR platform, this Leupold Delta Point Pro is a fantastic option, and I felt like it deserved its own video. It's an optic that I'm very impressed by after using it, and I think any of you would be too. So I've got extensive experience now with the Holosun, 407K, with the SIG Romeo 5 red dot, which I really do like. All three of those, or all two of those. But now that I've got some experience with this Leupold Delta Point Pro, I'm very impressed with it. As far as your sight picture goes, I think this has the best sight picture of any of these optics. So, it does lack a little bit in battery life compared to the Holosun or the SIG optics, but you get very clear glass for that and a very, very big window and a wide field of view, which is a really nice thing, whether mounted on a pistol or on an AR platform. So I'm really impressed. I think that it is a great choice for an optic. Just got to watch out for your battery life and make sure you change your batteries regularly. The battery that this takes is cheap and easy to find, so that shouldn't be a problem, right? So anyway, I would like to thank everyone that has subscribed to the channel and remind any of you that have not subscribed to please do so. Also, leave me a comment. What red dot optics do you run? Do you use pistol optics on your AR platforms, or do you use more dedicated rifle type optics? Or have you ran a Delta Point Pro on your actual handguns? If you have, let me know. Tell me what you think, good or bad. I would love to hear it. Also, please, if you enjoyed this video, leave me a like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out my Amazon affiliate links. I will try to link to this optic. If they don't have this one on there, I can definitely link to this optic. And anything that you buy on Amazon, as long as you've clicked on my link, gives the channel a little kickback, helps us out in a huge way. There's also a link to our Patreon down below. If you want to join the Patreon family, that is the easiest way to support the channel. Kaylin, want to thank you again. I really appreciate you loaning me this. So, from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.